Hey everybody. Today I saw another USB versus XLR debate. The original question was about whether an audio mixer is really necessary when you're recording by yourself. There's always someone who pops in to insist that XLR is empirically better than USB, and that the poster should get a mixer if they're serious about podcasting. It's this sort of absurdity that leads to people buying gear that they don't really need because they want to be seen as a serious podcaster. My opinion is it's so easy to get caught up in the tech and buy into confirmation bias. They spend that money and believe they hear a big difference that might not actually be there. I remember, 10 years ago, we'd gotten an Apollo interface, and I compared the 1176 and LA2A plugins to the hardware that we had. I think I could hear a slight difference, but it certainly wasn't enough to hold on to the hardware, because the reality is no one other than audio engineers would hear the difference. With that all in mind, I thought I had to put this to a test. I don't care if you can hear the difference in an A/B test. That doesn't really matter because in the real world, no one hears the other version. We just hear what's released. No, I want to test to see if anyone can correctly identify whether a clip was recorded using an interface or with the USB mic's built-in converter and preamp. The rules for this are simple. We have 7 clips. Let me know if you think the clip was USB or XLR. Let me know if you think the difference even matters for podcasts.
Well, the first thing I want to say, though, Brian, is you are not the only person who is dealing with this at all. This is very common, what you're talking about. People who've been in business for decades run into the same issues you're talking about. So it's not a Brian-specific issue that's going on. But pricing, I feel like pricing is always...
I'll tell you, it is so timely. We're just seeing so much every single day. It seems like there's an issue that relates to this topic. Before we really get into it, I thought it would be interesting for our listeners to hear just a little bit about what do you especially enjoy about your work? I mean, it is a challenge.
And one of the things I hear, and I've heard a lot this year, over and over, when it comes to podcasting, when I've talked to prospects, when I've talked to clients, and I ask, have you considered podcasting? Well, we did in the past, but it was a lot of work and a lot of cost, and we didn't see the return on investment.
So from your perspective as an expert in influencing and politics, what are the dynamics that are driving this growing trend of employees and stakeholders' interest in making their opinions known about social issues and what CEOs and boards and companies should be doing about it? And what's the role of the CEO in addressing this?
Yeah, and I can talk a little just for a minute about sort of how we got here, and then I actually want to also hear, Eustaquio, how it felt for you to come into it. Well, first of all, wealth is new to us. We both grew up middle class. And so this whole notion of having wealth and what does that mean and what do we do with it? And
well, that racial and gender equity focus was interesting because we had our own versions of philanthropy before this. We always gave money, and we tried to be organized about it and come up with our areas of focus, like education or women's health and so on. And one of the buckets was racial and gender equity. And then,
yeah, this was wild. I remember getting that email. Somebody, I did ask around. I'm like, who is, Phyla, Stephanie? Is anybody, trying to get a sense of, from others in the community about what this was about? Because, I think the most common question or phrase associated to the share fund has always been like, is it real?
Now that you've heard the clips, which clips do you think were XLR and which were USB? Is there a noticeable difference? Would you stop listening to any of these clips because of the quality of the preamp used? Let me know in the comments below. I'll reveal the answers in another video, provided we get some engagement on this one. So please share this video with others and comment so we can settle this age-old debate once and for all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.